my hat's off to Iran. I think Iran is the true pioneer. Iran is, if you kind of look like the whole BRICS multipolar movement, the leader really is Iran. They are the first ones to step out, and they did it kind of openly back in 1979. I remember that, and but they were just by themselves and easily demonized and against very powerful opponents. But they survived, and there was attempts to just destroy them through an invasion. The West supported a war against them. The Iraq invaded Iran. The West supplied Iraq with chemical weapons that were used against Iran. But Iran survived all of that, and then survived, increasingly severe sanctions over the years. And they really suffered, but they survived. And now they're not alone. I think, the next big one, of course, was Russia. And that's made a huge difference to them. And China is still kind of on the fence. They're like, they're struggling. They're trying to keep, for I think obvious reasons, because they have so much trade with the West. They don't want to. They want to maintain friendly relations as much as possible, but they're just finding it increasingly difficult because of the unrelenting hostility from the West. So it's like if leading the pack is Iran, and then Russia, and then China's in third. But there is this obvious movement away from the dollar and away from Western hegemony. There's the sanctions, right? They've been used before, but just on a much smaller scale. The main target of sanctions before Russia was Iran, but Iran is, it's not a small country, but it's still much smaller than Russia. And it's just when they went after Russia, that was a huge mistake, because I remember at the time thinking, well, if Iran has survived all these decades, of course Russia is. Russia's the largest country in the world. It's got more natural resources than any country in the world. And it's got a long border with the world's greatest manufacturing power. So what are they thinking? It's obviously not going to work. I thought they were going to be hurt, but it was just, it hurt a lot more than they were. But obviously it failed. It was just, it was stupid, like so many of the other moves that Western leadership have made in the last few years.
Yeah, so that's an interesting perspective, but I think it's true that Iran was really the pioneer.
Yeah.
Like every country, the U.S. uses these three things: its soft power, its financial system, the SWIFT system, its military might, to pressure and to make every country cower and adopt the U.S. system, U.S. ideology. And Iran seemed to be the first one that was the fly in the ointment that stood up and said, no, we're not doing this. And they survived. And once you've survived all that pressure, then there's no really putting that genie back in the bottle. It's out, right? Mm-hmm. It was gave the example to the world that, hey, we showed you that you can do it. And once you have survived, and your economy starts building and going up, then you're impervious. You don't have all these threats. It's so scary the first time taking this type of step, because you think like, well, maybe they will just completely destroy us. It will just completely collapse. And then they did. So it kind of showed the way. And now Russia has, and now you have Russia is such a large country. It really has changed the whole dynamic of the world, that everybody's able to look and see that, okay, there is an alternative now. You can stand up to the American empire. So I think the fact that Iran did it and now Russia did, that's really kind of the death blow to the American empire. That shows there isn't a one system anymore.
Right.
Is that fair to say?
I think it is. The American empire is still standing, but I think it has received its death blow. It's dying. Yeah.
Okay, and we shouldn't be scared that it received the death blow. That
right.
should be good. We can get
it's
back
good
to
for
looking
us.
at the...
It's good for we Americans. It really
right.
is. The empire is bad for us.